while Adam Lundy is live at Coventry Village on the mic. John Nolan with you from the Pine Valley Pizza Hut, Macy Gray, and our Southside studios as well. Thanks so much for being with us here on this Friday night. Get the opportunity to pinch it here for Brett, who was on the call for the Mastodons men's basketball game tonight at Ohio State. Very tough start to the season for the Dons in terms of the strength of schedule against the Mountain West opponent in Grand Canyon on the road in Phoenix earlier this week. And then at Ohio State here tonight, they'll be at home for their home opener coming up on Sunday afternoon against Dominican University, a 2 o'clock game. So hope to see you over at the Gate Center with free parking there on campus. And speaking of just home games to look forward to between now and high school football next Friday night, but the Purdue Fort Wayne women's basketball team will be at home at the Gate Center coming up on Wednesday against the Purdue Boilermakers. So always awesome when you get a Big Ten school, especially in state, to come here to the Fort, and especially glad to see schools continue to do that after the Mastodons men's team beat IU there back a handful of years ago. So that should be a really fun game for Maria Marquesano's group at the Gate Center on Wednesday night. And her team, as Adam had mentioned in the score updates before, they almost took a Big East opponent to overtime on the road tonight in Xavier, only to fall short by 1 as a last-second shot was deemed to be a 2 rather than a 3, which would have sent the game into overtime. And while the Boilermakers men's team won tonight at home against Oakland out of the Horizon League as well, they were down for a decent part of that game. So now for some local high schools, I mean, girls basketball is already underway, and boys basketball here knocking on the door as a lot of schools are done with their football season. But proud to say we have a number of teams from the 260 who are continuing to move on. And so for anyone who missed the last scoreboard update, Adam, as I'm still getting caught up here from the Pine Valley Pizza Hut, you want to just run through one more check of our H&K Chevrolet scoreboard.
Absolutely. Would be happy to, John. We're going to start off with our Midwest Box Breaks High School Football Game of the Week, which you heard right here on our airwaves. It was the 6A Sectional 2 Championship between Northrop and Carroll, and Carroll got the win over Northrop tonight, 42-23. In Class 5A Sectional 11, it was Concord defeating Northside by a score of 34-29. In Class 4A Sectional 19, it was Bishop Dwenger shutting out East Noble, 32-0. And in Class 3A, Sectional 26, Angola gets a come-from-behind win to defeat Garrett, 30-28. Also in Class 3A, Sectional 28, that championship, Bishop Luers defeated Mississinewa on the road by a score of 23-10. Moving on to Class 2A, Sectional 35, it was Adams Central over the Eastside Blazers by a score of 52-32. And in Class 1A, Sectional 43, it was North Miami over Fremont by a score of 51-7. And in Sectional 44 in Class 1A, it was South Adams defeating Hagerstown 42-14. Bonus scores for this evening: Purdue Boilermakers men's basketball team over the Oakland Golden Grizzlies 87-77. The Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team defeats the Purdue Fort Wayne men's team 94-68. And Xavier Musketeer, the women, defeat the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons women's basketball team tonight 62-61. And that Comets game down in Florida has gone final, with Florida taking the win over the Comets tonight 5-2. And that's your scores, John.
Yeah, all right. I was able to jot them all down now. So in summary, you got Carroll moving on.
Yeah.
As the Chargers know that they will be playing Penn. That's an undefeated Penn team. They're up around South Bend. They defeated another previously undefeated team tonight in Crown Point by a final of 28-24. So Carroll's on the road at Penn next Friday.
That was a late touchdown comeback win for Penn to get that victory over Crown Point. So, take your pick between those two teams. Both are going to be in a tough opponent on the road, but looking forward to seeing Carroll take on the challenge on the road against Penn.
So then Dwenger moving on at the 4A level.
Yep, they'll be going to Lebanon.
There we go. Lebanon next week. I know, Brett and you guys were talking about it last week with the one downer of being at home for sectional finals, that it means you're likely going to be on the road at the next level for regionals, at the 3A level, we've got Angola still alive, and
Yep.
same for Lures.
Yep, Angola is going to be on the road taking on the undefeated Knox team. So that's going to be a tough one for the Angola Hornets. They'll be on the road taking on Knox. As far as the 3A regional, sectional 27 versus sectional 28, with Bishop Lures getting the win, they will be going on the road to take on Twin Lakes, who defeated Western tonight. So it'll be Bishop Lures at Twin Lakes for your 3A regional there, sectional 27 versus sectional 28.
And a good note from our friends with Upon Further Review, the podcast, which you can also hear on these airwaves during the week on Wednesday nights. That is the 29th all-time sectional championship for Bishop Lures. I believe only Carmel has more around the state all time. And I think tonight would have been the 29th for Dwenger as well. And they're like just one ahead now, I think, of Snyder. So talk about some rich traditions, and make sure to follow at UFR_SAC for more great content from Upon Further Review.
No question, absolutely. Those guys are absolutely fantastic, and they are the people to follow for high school football coverage in the Fort Wayne area. Also, 2 more regionals announced or scheduled for next Friday in Class 2A, Sectional 35 taking on Sectional 36. That regional is going to be Eastbrook, an undefeated 11-0, now 12-0 Eastbrook comes to Adams Central to take on the undefeated Adams Central team. So that'll be a heck of a matchup for a 2A regional. And then our 1A regional, sectional 43 versus sectional 44. That'll feature South Adams taking on North Miami. That'll be at North Miami. North Miami got the best of Fremont tonight by a score of 51-7. So clearly a high-powered offense. So 2 high-powered offenses in a Class 1A regional between South Adams and North Miami.
Yeah, and as we mentioned with the big trophy cases for the likes of Dwenger and Lures, going back to Angola's crazy win against Garrett. A couple of historical tidbits for context. Couldn't believe that Garrett, in their 100+ year history, had not won consecutive sectional titles. So they were very close to finally accomplishing that. As it is, though, Angola wins a sectional championship for the first time in 7 years. And not only Upon Further Review there with some good coverage online, but Sam Frick, aka Super Sam, and Sam the Man. Wow, multiple nicknames. When you're at that legendary status, you just one nicknames, not enough. But glad to see that we've got a fair number of teams moving on to next Friday night. And by the way, speaking of just great local coverage, quick check ahead to tomorrow. Hopefully you get a full 8 hours of sleep, but in case you have to be up early tomorrow for whatever reason, Fighting Irish preview with the judge Phil Houck will hit the air first at 6:30, and that'll be a look ahead to Notre Dame against Navy primetime tomorrow night. Irish trying to remain in position for the college football playoff, while Navy one of the best teams from outside of a power conference. More local action at 8 o'clock with the 260 Dugout podcast. So World Series may now be in the rear view after last weekend, but still some local baseball talk. And in case you're not up really early for Fighting Irish preview, running it back at 8:30, leading up till 9 o'clock, talking sports as always with Jim Shovelin. Then at 10 o'clock, he'll hand the baton off to the Cover Boys sports betting program. And then you get a triple header of college football tomorrow. IU against Penn State, a noon game. That'll actually be down the dial on WOWO 92.3 FM. Because at noon, it's also Purdue against Ohio State pregame coverage leading up to a 1 o'clock kickoff. And then, as I mentioned, Notre Dame, it's a 7:30 game against Navy. And so that one will be right here, just like our coverage tonight, presented by Midwest Box Breaks.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why that game starts at 1 o'clock p.m. I don't know if they're trying to hide it from everybody so nobody has to see that, but definitely a weird start time for that one, but we will have it on airwaves.
Yeah. And then on that note, since 1 o'clock we generally would associate with NFL action, right?
Right.
Jumping ahead to Sunday at our programming here, a replay of the 260 Dugout podcast at 8 o'clock. And then remember, the Colts are in Germany here this week
Yeah.
to take on the Falcons, and so we'll have pregame coverage at 8:15. 8:15 breakfast and pigskin to go with your bacon there on Sunday morning. 9:15 kickoff for the Colts and Falcons in Germany, and then dialing it back to the college basketball talk. Mastodons men's basketball will be playing Dominican over from Illinois. 2 o'clock game coverage will start. Brett will be back at 1:45. Well, if you're really a scheduler, I'm admittedly not this much of a planner ahead, Adam. But Sunday night football this weekend will be the Steelers and the Chargers. So coverage here from Westwood One at 7:30 on these airwaves. And for good measure, Monday night football. If you want something to look ahead to start next week, will be the Eagles and the Packers at 7 o'clock coverage starting on Monday. So a lot of great local coverage coming up here this weekend, and plenty of football through Monday night as well.
Yeah, you said it. And just going back really quick to that fantastic finish between Garrett and Angola, which was definitely the game of the night tonight. I want to point out this was a Angola team that was down 28-14 after a Garrett touchdown with just 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they come back to they score 18 points to win the game. So very, very impressive night for Angola. I'm sure that's not one that the Hornets fans are going to be forgetting anytime soon.
No, yeah, that's legendary stuff right there. That'll be remembered for a long time. Let's take a timeout right now. We've given you the scores. We'll go a little bit more in depth and spotlight some of the top individual performers from around the area on this Friday night of sectional finals play. As we continue, I'm at the Pine Valley Pizza Hut. Adam's in studio. Macy Ray, our producer. This is the Kester's post-game show on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
So Adam Lundy is in studio. I'm John Nolan at the Pine Valley Pizza Hut. We've got some kids from Dwenger here. Congratulations to the Saints for their sectional championship right now. Macy Gray is our quarterback, so to speak, in studio, and we're going for two here. Right now, we're going to bring in Bishop Luers head coach Kyle Lindsay, and on deck, we've got Carroll head coach Doug Dynan. But first, Coach Lindsay, congratulations. The Knights with their 29th sectional championship. You guys take care of this one on the road down against Ole Miss, 23-10. Thomas Reichert, 128 passing yards, touchdown pass to Derwin Carswell. Rory Kelly with a 99-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Dallas Mata, a monster on defense. What was the game plan that got it done tonight?
Ultimately, it was play our brand of football, physical, smash mouth football offensively, and defensively make it tough on them to run the ball effectively for 4 quarters. We felt like we did have an advantage in depth. They had, I believe, six kids starting on both sides of the ball, so we figured our style could wear an opponent out like that. But hats off to Mississippi. They're well coached, they're disciplined. They definitely played a more disciplined game than us tonight. And when it seemed like we had their backs against the wall, they responded. And, ultimately, it was, I think our brand of football in the 4th quarter kind of showed out late in the game. We had a big hit while they were driving in to really to tie the game or take a lead if they went for a 2-point conversion. Our safety, Darian Carswell, he had our first touch on the night. He had a big hit on the 1-yard line that forced them. It looked like he was going to walk in the end zone. Forced them into a 3rd and 1. They got on the ball really quick and tried a quarterback sneak, and I don't think the quarterback ever got the ball. The ball bounced our way for once, it seemed like this year, and Rory was there to, he played through the whistle, and, we're fortunate that we didn't have an early call because it definitely looked like the ball was out, but, we had our backs to the wall, and, a senior captain made a huge play defensively to put us in that position for the scoop of score, and then to finish the game, we ran the last 4.5, 5 minutes off the clock, just running the ball and picking up a couple first downs on 4th and 4. Our sophomore running back got a straight downhill run, and the offensive line just really swarmed them. And it was an impressive run because it was our identity. I think they carried him for, it seemed like 25, 30 yards to put the game away. So it's pretty cool finish to otherwise, really a bizarre game.
But in the end, the 29th sectional title for Luers. We've got their head coach, Kyle Lindsay, with us here right now. Has been a part of the majority of those titles, right? Going back to your own playing career and yours as a coach, assistant with your dad, and now a long time as the head coach. And I know over the years it's a repeated storyline, but for anyone who still maybe isn't always tapped in to understand how you guys, as the smallest school in the SAC, sometimes you have to take your lumps and growing pains, and then even a difficult non-conference schedule to start the year at Leo and Andrean, and took a little while to get the offense going. What's it like to still maintain the confidence of these kids and to have them sort of trust the process that they're going to develop over the course of the year and come November earn these wins?
It's really special. When you have 29, let's address the kids after the game. We're holding the sectional trophy and they're celebrating like this. You got to understand this. It's never easy. And when you face a team back-to-back years for a sectional championship, it just gets that much tougher. We're fortunate this year to make it through the regular season, heading into the postseason, relatively healthy. Then tonight was actually probably the healthiest that we've been since week 2 or week 3 of the season. So, throughout the year, you're hoping that your youngsters that are new to football, new to Friday nights, are going to be healthy at the end of the year, but they're also going to have confidence because, it was a rough start. And, we didn't have any really easy wins throughout the year. We've had to grind. We've had to play 48 minutes of football week in and week out. And, I'd like to think that the leadership on our coaching staff and the leadership from the senior class really played a strong role in these youngsters stepping up and elevating their game and playing with confidence.
Well, we hope it's a smooth bus ride back to the South Side tonight. Just one last one before we transition over to Coach Dinan from Carroll. Just anything else you want listeners out there to know about your kids and program and what to expect next Friday?
Just that, these kids they got their backs to the wall. They've had their backs to the wall all year, and we're not going to go down without a fight, without swinging. So just really, really proud of the overall ability of the kids to battle through adversity. It hasn't been pretty all year, but it's a resilient bunch that finds ways, and it's a credit to their leadership and again, to the coaches and the community, their parents, everybody. We're just happy to come back to Fort Wayne with number 29, and hopefully we can have a great week of practice next week.
Well, awesome stuff. Yeah, best of luck against Twin Lakes now next week. But congrats to you and your group for showing out for the 260 as always.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and congrats to Dwanger, Carroll, and everybody in Northeast Indiana. Let's go win some regionals.
Yes, perfectly said. And so with that in mind, we are really appreciative now to bring in Coach Doug Dinan, who led his Chargers to a second consecutive sectional championship tonight, earning a 42-23 win at home against Northrop. And so it's now 9 sectional titles all time in the trophy case in Northwest Allen County. Coach, congratulations. How are you feeling right now?
Anytime that you can win a championship, it's a high moment. We're very proud of our players, very proud of the program, very proud of the coaches and the families. It was a very good win.
Take us through it. It was less than a month ago that you had a win against Northrop on the road, pretty high scoring game. What were you hoping to accomplish here tonight in terms of adjustments from that victory to be even better as you wound up being tonight?
Well, we did things, a little bit differently on both sides of the ball. I mean, you go back to that week 8 game versus Northrop, and we had a 27-7 lead at halftime. And I think, honestly, that the kids got off the gas a little bit, and it's hard to turn it back on, when you kind of coast a little bit. And they had a tremendous third quarter, and they had a little energy in the third quarter tonight too. But we gave some different schemes on defense. We incorporated a lot more of our run game tonight, with the mindset that they're going to be back defending the pass. If we can control the ball and keep our defense off the field, keep their offense off the field, it's beneficial. And we were successful doing that. We ran for over 340 yards. We still passed for over 100 yards. And, our hats go off to both sides, the kids on both sides of the ball, coaches on both sides of the ball, because it was a tremendous week of work. And Northrop is very, very talented. Let's say that. I mean, they have athletes galore all over the place. And, for us to be able to come away with, 2 wins, once in the regular season and now in the sectional championship, it's a tremendous victory.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, 342 yards rushing. So, yeah, and Asher Wagner wind up with 134 on 15 carries. Jackson Rhodes, 97 on 20 touches. Your quarterback, Gabe Freisinger, over 100 yards himself. I guess you had Gabe as a weapon throughout the season, but with those other backs, how have you, and credit to the offensive line, obviously, how have you guys advanced over the course and developed this season in that regard?
Well, the negative thing for Asher is that Asher usually only sees the ball when we're on the 3-yard line, so, his runs typically up to this point were not very long. And then when we wanted to control the clock and control the ball, we went into our short yardage offense and essentially just, ran power with him. And he had a couple of big breakaways, a couple of big runs, but it all goes back to the offensive line, defensive line. We controlled the offensive line. Our defensive line, was able to get pressure on the quarterback. Our secondary played well. We had 2 takeaways. We caused 1 fumble. Defensively, we've been stellar since week 7. Week 7 was kind of a turning point for us defensively in creating turnovers, and I think that now, since week 7, we've got 15 takeaways, and not very many giveaways in that whole time frame too. So, our kids played hard. We're very proud of them. Very physical game. We get the opportunity to continue to play. We get the opportunity to travel up to Penn. Penn was victorious over Crown Point, and so we'll be on the road. Make it a business trip next week. Go up to Penn and come away successful again.
Yeah, and you said it there, week 7. That was the rivalry week victory against Homestead, a couple of pick sixes, and yeah, the group hasn't really looked back. Take us behind the curtain here for a minute now, because we just had Coach Lindsay from Lures on. He's still on the bus after a pretty lengthy road trip, hour-ish there down Mississinawa. You had the home game tonight, so you've gotten home already. What's it like now with the turnaround to Penn? Do you enjoy tonight, or are you already starting to watch some film?
Well, 24 hours is what you get, and you get 24 hours, and that's what we told our kids. You get 24 hours to enjoy the victory, and then it's time to flip the page. Coaches, we won't take that long. I mean, we're going to, communicate with Penn and our opponent and get exchanges made in terms of film. And tomorrow morning, we'll break it down, and we'll break down every one of their games that we see. And we'll look at them offensively, defensively, every play, every game, and trying to determine what is the best scheme offensively, what's the best scheme defensively that gives us the opportunity to win.
All right, well, we'll let you get to it then, but thanks so much for your time and congratulations.
Appreciate you, and congratulations to all those in the conference and Northeast Indiana that were successful tonight as well.
100%. Well, there's Doug Dinan, his Carroll team, 42-23. They'll win tonight for a sectional title at the 6A level and sectional 2 against Northrop. All right, we got to take a timeout. We come back. We'll give you the scores again and wrap things up here. I'm at the Pine Valley Pizza Hut. They're open till midnight. Got some fans who are at the Carroll game, the Dwenger game, others in the area coming through, and Adams in studio. So this is the Kester's Postgame Show on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Live from the mic at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
AC Gray is our QB1, our producer in studio. I'm John Nolan, coming to you from the Pine Valley Pizza Hut after a Midwest Box Breaks game of the week. It was Carroll 42-23 over Northrop. Thanks again to Doug Dinan, the Chargers head coach, who just joined us, as well as the victorious head coach of the Bishop Lures Knights, Kyle Lindsay. All right, well, I just gave the Carroll Northrop score for other finals on this sectional finals night. Here is Adam Lundy with the H&K Chevrolet scoreboard.
Awesome. Thanks, John. We're going to start off with Class 5A Sectional 11's championship, where Concord got the best of Northside tonight, 34-29. In Class 4A Sectional 19, it was Bishop Dwenger shutting out East Noble, 32-0. In Class 3A Sectional 26, it was Angola coming from behind to defeat the Garrett Railroaders, 30-28. Also in Class 3A Sectional 28, it was Bishop Lures, who we just heard from head coach Kyle Lindsay, getting the win over Mississinawa tonight, 23-10. In Class 2A Sectional 35, it was Adams Central over Eastside, 52-32. And in Class 1A Sectional 43, North Miami defeated Fremont tonight, 51-7. And in Sectional 44, South Adams won that sectional championship over Hagerstown by a score of 42-14.
So there you have it. When we come back, we'll give a quick look ahead to the regional championship matchups next Friday night. Again, this is the Kester's postgame show, and we're live at the Pine Valley Pizza Hut on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Live from the mic at Coventry Village on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
That's Adam Lundy there in studio. And in case you haven't tuned in yet to see what it looks like, it's streaming live on Facebook, 1380 The Fan. The video gets archived there as well. It really is. It's like you're watching Sports Center or something with the setup there. So Adam looking good in studio. This is John Nolan coming to you from the Pine Valley Pizza, where we're going to be wrapping up in the next few minutes, but they're open until midnight. So whether it's a late dinner or a dessert, come on and get a treat, especially if you're celebrating that your team won tonight. Just a moment ago, Adam ran through the scores on our H&K Chevrolet scoreboard. Adam, real quick now, what are we looking at for the slate next Friday?
Yeah, absolutely. In 6A, the regional sectional 1 versus sectional 2, it'll be Carroll, who we heard tonight, taking on an undefeated Penn team on the road. 5A, none of our local teams have made it to the regional, so unfortunately. Class 4A regional, it's going to be Bishop Dwenger on the road taking on 10-2 Lebanon. In Class 3A, Sectional 25 versus Sectional 26, Angola is going to go on the road to take on an undefeated Knox team. Also in Class 3A, Sectional 27 versus Sectional 28, that'll feature Bishop Luers on the road taking on a 10-2 Twin Lakes team that defeated Western tonight. In Class 2A, it's going to be Eastbrook coming to Adams Central. That's going to be a matchup of two undefeated teams. Again, Eastbrook at Adams Central in the 2A regional. And in the 1A regional, we'll see the South Adams Starfires on the road taking on North Miami. That'll be a matchup of two 9-3 teams. So that's a look at your regional pairings for this coming Friday, next Friday.
Stay tuned to 1380thefan.com and at 1380thefan on social media to find out where our coverage will come from next week, as Brett will be back and been with you since August and taking you on the road to Indianapolis with state championships coming up just after Thanksgiving. Well, just want to say always a treat for me, a privilege and a pleasure to get to jump in here on coverage. Big thanks to Shannon Griffith and, for that matter, Eric Dukevich and Jim Shovelin. Thanks to Brett for still helping out behind the scenes as well tonight, along with an assist from Dean Pantazzi. Awesome job by Macy Gray in studio. And one more thanks to both Kyle Lindsay from Bishop Luers and Doug Dinan from Carroll. And speaking of the Chargers, always appreciate the hospitality there, led by Athletic Director Dan Ginder, but just a first-class operation. And yeah, Adam, thanks to you for letting me join you.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks for filling in the spot of Brett, who was on the road with the Mastodons, and you filled in a couple times this season, and we've all enjoyed hearing you on the call. Glad you were able to make it back and take a little break from the WNBA and get some gridiron under your skin as we get here close to regionals. So happy to have you as well, and just once again, a big congratulations to all the teams that advanced on to regionals from our area tonight. But also want to give a big shout out to a lot of seniors who's played their final football game tonight. So gave your heart out there, guys. Credit to you guys. Be proud of what you did in your 4 years of high school, because that's going to live with you forever. And just because the journey ends, it's time for a new one to start.
Very well said. It really is fulfilling to get out there in the community and be part of these Friday nights with everyone. So coming up next, Indiana Sports Talk with Bob Lovell. He'll take you around not only these games, but the entire scene around the state. But this has been the Kesters Postgame Show live at Pizza Hut on 1380 The Fan at 100.9 FM.
Thanks for listening.